Hey guys, come on in. Hey Farah, hey Katasha, hey Tina. Welcome, welcome, welcome to day 42 of Devotional Time for Mindset. We are on our 100-day journey. Can you believe it? Hey Charles, hey David, hey user 2589, hey Bella, hey Mama Vicky, hello, 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 hey Poised but not perfect. Listen guys, can everybody hear me okay? Instagram, TikTok, Clubhouse, over here on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, all the other platforms. You guys can hear me okay? As you can see, my background is different because I'm traveling right now. I am currently in Kentucky because I am in a play. So I'm glad that I got everything all hooked up and we were still able to stream across our 8 different platforms. So welcome. If you hear my voice right now, then comment live and tell me where around the world you are tuned in from, okay? And if you're watching the replay later on, then comment replay and let me know where you're tuned in from. Meanwhile, I need for everybody to share this live stream out because you never know who needs to hear this lesson, okay? Who this is going to help out there, and they have no clue that it exists. So please share the live stream. Meanwhile, make sure that you comment, leave your insights, leave your ahas, definitely leave your questions in the comment section. All right. So we have Mama Vicky tuning in live from Georgia. Is it Bola Durasaro tuning in from Dallas, Texas? Welcome. Is this your first time at Devotional Time for Mindset? Hey, so him. Hello, 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 everyone. Katasha says good morning, tuning in from Maryland. She says, yes, she can hear me. Over here, we have Gordon. Good morning. I get to join you live from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Wow, Gordon. I've never heard of Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Did I say it right? Or is it Fond du Lac? Hey, Sister Joyce is back tuning in live. Sister Tabitha's back tuning in live from Indiana. Hey, Gordon. Okay, perfect. Everybody can hear me. Aunt Fran is tuning in live from Chicago, and we have South Carolina in the house. Oh, it's Bola Duro's first time. Welcome. I pray that you are blessed. And Truly Me 212 says, what time is it for you? It is still midnight Eastern time for me. And so I know that we have people tuned in from all around the world. And so for some of you, it might be nighttime. For some of you, it might be daytime, depending on where you're watching. But I welcome you. Hey, Kate, is this your first time here? Let me know where you're tuned in from. So allow me to introduce Devotional Time for Mindset. As I said, this is day 42 of our 100-day journey, and we are learning all the different ways that the enemy attacks our minds so that we can protect ourselves and, fully inherit the abundance and happiness that God desires for us. So this is a journey to grow on our spiritual walk and just be able to fight the enemy, okay? And stay out of the darkness, stay out of the pit, stay out of the valley. And if we find ourselves in the darkness, being able to get ourselves out of it a lot more quickly than if we had no clue what was going on. All right. So, hey, Carrington is back with us today. Gordon says, you did good on the first try. I'm impressed. Why, thank you. Thank you. I do my best. Shauna is tuned in live. Hey, Shauna, is this your first time here? Let me know. Let me know. Okay. So, guys, again, share this live stream out because you never know who needs it. And this devotional is guided by the book Battlefield of the Mind Devotional by Joyce Meyer. So you can download your free copy of the book at mindsetmastersuite.com. All right. That way you can follow along with us if you would like to. And you can submit prayer requests at mindsetmastersuite.com. You can join me live in the discussion at mindsetmastersuite.com. Do all the things at mindsetmastersuite.com. If you want to check out some of the other platforms that we're streaming on, all of the links are there at mindsetmastersuite.com. Okay. So let's get into our devotional for the day. But before I do that, allow me to introduce myself because some of you are new here. Okay. So my name is Lindsay Vertner. I'm a mindset expert, speaker, and actress, and I work with high achieving leaders to help them prioritize self without guilt. And specifically, I focus on what I call the 3 pillars of self, which is self-care, self-worth, and self-discipline, because those 3 pillars subconsciously impact every single thing that we do in our lives. All right. And then it is also my purpose to help each and every one of you to create your first class life. which is a life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness, which is why we're here on Devotional Time for Mindset, so that we are more able to do that because we all have the ability. All right. So let's get into it. Every single day, same time, same place, we read directly from the devotional book. So again, you can download your free copy at mindsetmastersuite.com. And then after we read the day's devotional, we have a discussion. We chit chat about it. We hodgepodge about it. Okay, Tanya? So make sure that you are leaving your comments and questions down in the comments section, no matter where you're tuned in from, because I will do my best to read and acknowledge all of those, especially if you have a question. All right. So that way I can get to those. But be mindful, we are streaming live across 8 different platforms. So I might miss a comment here or there, but please don't take it personal, okay? I do my best to catch them all. Let's see. Somebody on TikTok says, I don't like this, too fast talking. Well, I'm sorry. I am not the person for you. You're more than welcome to go back and watch the replays and slow down the pace if that works for you. But unfortunately, this is the pace that I talk in. Hey, Black Unicorn, thanks for tuning in. So, that's okay. I am not everybody's tea, and I am all right with that. So let's get started with day 42. You ready? Day 42, the topic is the peaceful mind. And the opening scripture reads, "You will guard him and keep him in perfect and constant peace, whose mind is stayed on you, because he commits himself to you, leans on you, and hopes confidently in you." And that's from Isaiah chapter 26, verse 3. The devotional reads, what is it about nighttime that makes us more vulnerable to satanic attack? Is it because daylight is gone and it's dark? Is there some kind of association between evil and the dark hours of the night? We are usually able to cope with whatever happens to us during the day, but sometimes it's a different story at night. My theory is that by evening, most of us are tired and weary, and we just want to lie down, close our eyes, and drift into peaceful sleep. That is one of Satan's favorite times to engage us in the battle of our minds. He knows that when we are exhausted and sleepy, we are not as resistant to his attacks. And just as we're about to drop off to sleep, he makes his move. If we recognize that we're more susceptible to the attack of the enemy at night, then we can take steps to better prepare to stand against him. Some of my friends tell me that they find it helps to meditate on scriptures such as Philippians 4:8, which tells us to think on good things, things that are true, honorable, just, pure, lovely, and excellent. Or they claim the promise of Isaiah 26:3, which states, "You will guard him and keep him in perfect and constant peace, whose mind is stayed on you." These words from the Bible enable us to remain vigilant even in the dark hours of the night. By using the word of God, we can defeat every onslaught of the enemy, even in our weakest hours. But if we have not armed ourselves with the word and spent some time in prayer, we will fall for Satan's plans when he brings to mind some troublesome event of the day and ask, "Why did you say that? How could you have been so insensitive?" He takes advantage of us when he knows we are weak and most vulnerable to his influence. His goal is to disturb our thoughts and rob us of the peaceful rest that our bodies need. One of his tricks is to cause us to focus on the problems of the day, suggesting that we must immediately, in the middle of the night, determine the best way to settle the issue. I experienced night like this years ago, and I didn't always win the battle. But but as a mature Christian, I now know how to fight the good fight of faith. Here's one thing I figured out a long time ago. It is not wise to make decisions in the middle of the night. There may be times when God demands an immediate surrender, and those are powerful moments in our lives. But most decisions can wait until the next day. Perhaps we spoke hastily or didn't respond kindly to someone's needs. The issues are often little things that we probably could have handled better. But as Satan wages his battle in the dark of the night, those little things seem to take on importance and urgency. So much so that we believe we will never sleep unless we settle this issue immediately. When Satan tries to pull that nighttime trick on me, I've learned to say, I'll deal with this issue in the morning when the sun is shining, after I've rested and I can cope. I've also learned that I can say, Lord, I surrender this to you. Give me your rest, your peace, and help me to make the right decision in the morning. That works for me. Okay. The closing prayer reads, Holy Spirit, thank you for being with me, for protecting me, and for guiding my life. When I face those dark nights and the enemy tries to attack my mind, protect me. I trust you and I ask you to keep me in your perfect peace. Amen. Hey, Griselle, thanks for tuning in. Hey, Dee, where you tuned in from? I see you over on Clubhouse. Welcome, welcome, welcome. That was our day 42 devotional reading. Hey, Jill is back with us. Thanks for tuning in. And if you're just tuning in, we are on day 42 of our 100-day journey of devotional time for mindset, where we are learning all the different ways the enemy attacks our minds because our minds are so powerful to creating the life that we live and walking in our purpose or not. And so if you want to follow along, you can download your free copy of the book, Battlefield of the Mind Devotional, at mindsetmastersuite.com. Hey, Miss Nitra, good to see you again. Or you can submit a prayer request at mindsetmastersuite.com. You can click the join live button and join me live right now at mindsetmastersuite.com. If you want to join verbally in the discussion, if your fingers are tired of typing in the comments. But make sure you share this live stream out, okay? But now it's time to get into our discussion, family, which means I need y'all to talk to me in the comments, okay, Moo? Let's see. Dee is tuned in. Ooh, she says, hey, from LA, Los Angeles. So we have Sister Nancy that is also a regular that tunes in from Los Angeles. So welcome, Dee. Welcome. Okay, guys. Sleep, 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 sleep. Today's topic is all about sleep and how the enemy wants to rob us of our sleep, and more specifically, a peaceful sleep. So, what I want to talk to you guys about today is what happens when we don't get sleep. Because we already know that Satan will try to attack us when we're weak. That's whenever it's easiest to attack us. Just think about little babies and in nature, how the parents have to protect them until they grow big and strong enough to fight and live on their own, because they are more vulnerable when they are weak and they haven't developed. They haven't physically developed and matured. They may not be strong enough. Maybe they haven't grown a shell, or they haven't grown, some outer defenses that will help them fight off prey. So it's in nature, but it's also in us humans because we are a part of human nature. And the enemy likes to attack us whenever we are spiritually weak. He likes to attack us when we are emotionally weak. He likes to attack us when we're mentally weak, and he likes to attack us when we're physically weak as well. It doesn't matter what kind of weak we are, he will try to attack us even more so because it's easier. We're more vulnerable when we're weak. So our bodies need sleep. It is a non-negotiable. You will not survive if you go without sleep for too long. And so the enemy knows this. And so he wants you to not get sleep. Okay, so let's talk about some things that happens whenever we are struggling with a lack of sleep. Hey, Slim JC, thanks for tuning in. Hey, Anna. But first, let's look at the verse of the day. So the verse of the day was Isaiah 26, chapter 26, verse 3. But I'm also going to share with you verse 4 as well. Okay, so Isaiah 26, verse 3 and 4. The Lord gives perfect peace to those whose faith is firm. So always trust in the Lord, because he is forever our mighty rock. And the enemy does not want us to have trust in the Lord. He does not want us to have that peace. He wants our faith to be shaken. He doesn't want us to have unwavering faith, because that makes us weak. Okay, so that's just a little extension on the verse of the day, but let's talk about some different ways that a lack of sleep actually impacts us so that we understand. You guys may be experiencing some of these things and not even recognize that it is a due to a lack of sleep. So, most studies say that we need about 7 to 9 hours of sleep to be fully rejuvenated. Now, let's be realistic. I don't know how many people, raise your hand if you actually get a full 7, 8, or 9 hours of sleep regularly on a consistent basis. Right now, my hand is up, but that's just because I'm modeling what I want you to do. If you get that, then raise your hand. But I'm going to put my hand down because I don't regularly get that. Sometimes are better than others, but I can definitely tell whenever I am not getting an adequate amount of sleep. Mama Vicky says, in my dreams. Well, listen, if you're having dreams, then maybe you are sleeping. Hey, Sister Nancy is tuning in with us. Hey, Dee and Nancy over on Clubhouse. I want to make a connection real quick because both of you guys are in LA. I see Dee Dee is back. Hey, Steven, is this your first time tuning in to Devotional Time for Mindset? Katasha says never. D. Oh, there's two D's. We have two D's in the house. We have a D on Clubhouse and we have a D on TikTok. Hey, D. Where D on TikTok? Where are you tuned in from? That would be crazy if you're also in LA. Listen, guys, if you're new here, Devotional Time for Mindset, you are officially a part of the family, whether you've been here 5 minutes or 5 weeks, okay? You are officially a part of the family. That means I am praying for you, and the rest of the family is praying for you. That means that you are here in a group that wants to support and encourage you. D on TikTok is tuning in from Lafayette, Louisiana. I think you've been here before. Is that right? Am I right? I think you've been here before. Yes, yes. D Chiz on Clubhouse says sleep has been a challenge as I've gotten older. Ooh, well, this is the perfect place to be. Look how God shows up and shows out, okay? Because today it's all about sleep. Dee Dee says, I definitely be lacking sleep. Nancy says, party in LA, come on over. Okay, I'm going to message you whenever I make it out to LA, okay? Dee says, yes, ma'am. See, I knew it. Look, the more y'all engage, the more I recognize you. Gordon says he doesn't get an adequate amount of sleep. Yeah, majority of us don't. I figured most of us wouldn't have our hands up. Especially in today's day and age, sleep is often few and far between, and it's often the last thing on our minds. Hey, Zoe. We like to put sleep on the back burner, but what I want to encourage everybody is to make sleep a priority. Now, I'm not saying that you have to have a full 9 hours. Maybe for you, 6.5 hours is good. I would not go less than 6. Carrington says, I'm not getting enough sleep as well. Y'all, look, all of us are struggling in our sleep patterns, okay? Dee says she has dark, hence my dark under eye circles. I have, you can't see them right now, but I have them too. They showed up real good in a photo the other week. So we got to get some sleep. Katasha says, especially since COVID, all kinds of sleep hours. Yes, just our schedules are all over the place. Life wants to make us feel like everything is a priority and everything has to be right now. Like, do you ever feel bad if your phone rings and you don't answer it? Like, oh my gosh, I didn't answer that. Now I got to call them back really fast. Or do you ever feel like you have to answer that email right now, or you have to solve the problem right now, or you have to do this or do that right now in this moment? That is the crazy world that we live in these days. And it is impacting our sleep habits because we feel like we have to address everything right now. We have to take care of everything right now. But let me remind you that if God Himself took a rest when He created the world, then what makes us think that we are not supposed to take a rest as well? Dee says it's been overwhelming. What makes us think in all of the universe, how can we have the audacity to think that we are better than God? And if God needs sleep, but I am so much more powerful than God that I don't need sleep and I can function on a lack of sleep, I think we might be a little bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Wouldn't you agree? Because I know I'm definitely not as powerful and miraculous as our homie upstairs. Okay. So let's get into it. Effects of a lack of sleep. It increase your risk for diabetes. So I just want you to take note if you have experienced any of these in the last week. Okay. An increased risk of diabetes, obviously, you wouldn't know that unless you are already dealing with that issue. But if you don't have diabetes, know that it increases your risk of diabetes when you are lacking sleep. And if you do have diabetes, know that you are making it worse when you are not getting enough amount of sleep. Okay. D on TikTok says, if we can only master treating our bodies as a temple. Yes, yes, yes. It increase your risk of heart attacks and strokes. Jill says, haha, agreed. It increase our risk of impulsive behavior. So we act more erratically. Things that maybe would, like, let's say a situation happens and normally we got to be on level 10 to react in a negative way, but now we're reacting at level 2 more quickly. We're acting and behaving more erratically. It increase your risk for anxiety and depression. So do any of you struggle with anxious thoughts or depression? Or maybe you're struggling with panic attacks and don't even recognize it. So have you ever been just out somewhere and all of a sudden it was like your heart started racing and you weren't really sure why? You just had a panic attack. So oftentimes we like to think of panic attacks as like drop everything. I can't breathe and I'm falling out on the floor and everybody's crowded around us like somebody get her a fan. Y'all, that is an exaggerated look at a panic attack. Sometimes just our heart racing out of nowhere can be a panic attack. Sometimes just feeling our chest tighten up and feeling like we're having to work a little bit harder to breathe and catch our breath is a panic attack, and we don't even recognize it because it doesn't look like the sensationalized versions that we see in the movies and on TV. D over on TikTok says overly sensitive, and she says me. No, she says me, and me. She says misophonia is my strongest battle at this time. Well, we are glad that you are here. Hey, Tawana, thanks for tuning in. So those are all versions of panic attack. And I encourage you to actually Google it and see what are some different ways that panic attacks can look like. So a lack of sleep increases our risk of anxiety and depression and instances of panic attacks. It increases our risk of high blood pressure. How many of you go get a checkup and the doctor is like, this blood pressure, these numbers not looking where they need to be. How's your sleeping? It increases your risk of obesity and fluctuating weight. So if you have trouble maintaining a healthy weight, lack of sleep, it increases your risk of suicidal thoughts. It increases your memory issues. Let me rephrase that. So it makes issues within your long and short term memory. So you have trouble remembering things. You have trouble focusing. You have trouble with your concentration. You have trouble with your awareness and balance because it decreases all of those things, decreases your focus, your balance, your awareness, your concentration. It makes you more irritable and moody. We can see that in people every day. Have you ever had to wake somebody up and they didn't want to be woken up and they are very grumpy when you try to wake them up? When we have a lack of sleep, we can carry that grumpiness and that irritability all throughout our day. It decreases your logic. So your ability to problem solve, your ability to come up with creative solutions to your problems, all of those things are decreased whenever you have a lack of sleep. It decreases your awareness, which I mentioned that already. And if your awareness is decreased, well, you might be saying, well, what can happen, Lindsay? I'm glad you asked, Shauna. Whenever our awareness level is decreased, that means we're more prone to accidents. So if you work with heavy machinery at work or just in general, you're more likely to have an accident. If you are driving a car, you're more likely to have an accident. If you're cooking or working with hot utensils, you're more likely to have an accident because your awareness and your response time is delayed and decreased. So things that you might usually be able to snap and then react to, you're having a delay. And so it's taking you longer. And then by the time you realize, oh, shoot, I got to react, it's too late. The wrecks done already happened. The accidents done already happened. You done already slid and fell up under the heavy machinery. D says short tempered, quick to respond, and energy is transferable. It decreases your immune system. So you are able to get sick more often. And I'm going to tell you why that is in just a second. Hey, Yasmin, thanks for tuning in. Your immune system is weakened when you aren't getting an adequate amount of sleep. So if you're the type of person that seems to get a cold or the flu, or you got some type of illness every other week, you might want to look at your sleep patterns. A lot of the things that we deal with from day to day are things that we can control. And we just dismiss them, or we just don't recognize the correlation between this and that. High stress levels, a lack of sleep, our negative thoughts. Because on previous days, we talked specifically about how our negative thoughts releases certain chemicals in our bodies that have negative impacts on our physical body just from thinking. And it's not that we don't need these chemicals, because the chemicals that are being released, they have a purpose. But just like I just said, they have a purpose. They are to be used in a specific way at a specific time to help keep us safe. But when we're constantly stressed, when we're constantly anxious, when we're constantly thinking negative thoughts, we are releasing those chemicals more than they should be released in our body, which leads to the negative impacts on our physical bodies. D says, yes, indeed, inflammation plays a part in survival mode. Yes, 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 yes. And I don't want any of us to be living in survival mode anymore. Not financially, not mentally, not emotionally, not physically, because God wants us to thrive, not survive. And we have some things that we can control in our lives to be able to thrive. Now, we can't control everything, but it's important to be aware of the things that we can control and start to make changes. Hey, Tina. Okay. Also, for those of you that have a boo thing, did you know it decreases your sex drive as well when you have a lack of sleep? Has anyone ever experienced that? You don't got to raise your hand, okay? You can keep it silent if you want to. D says survival mode is almost no, but we can make a change in that, okay? Also, a lack of sleep can trigger mania, and it can trigger bipolar disorder. Mama Net is tuned in live from Indiana. She says, hey, everybody. Okay, so one more thing I want to share about the negative impacts of a lack of sleep is that whenever you are experiencing consistent lack of sleep, eventually, and by consistent, I just you done had one night where you pulled an all-nighter. And then maybe even 2 nights. It doesn't have to be a whole week long where you didn't get sleep. It doesn't have to be a whole month long where you've been running on 2 and 3 hours. This can happen after just one night of pulling an all-nighter. There's something called micro sleep. And you might be saying, well, Lindsay, what is micro sleep? I'm glad you asked, Jill, because micro sleep is whenever we involuntarily fall asleep for only 2 to 3 seconds without even realizing. Now, usually this is what happens whenever a lot of people fall asleep on the road. It's not even that they were asleep at the wheel for 5 minutes and 10 minutes. It's usually a micro sleep that causes the wreck. It was only 2 to 3 seconds. And that goes right back into the lack of awareness, the decreased awareness. Because obviously we're not aware, we're not paying attention if we're asleep for 2 to 3 seconds. And that's how more accidents can happen. And we have no control when microsleep hits us. So we can't say, okay, I'm going to be very aware. And I know I did not get enough sleep last night, but I'm going to make sure that I drink my caffeine and I have my coffee, I have my tea, I have some gum, I have some chocolate. Is it caffeine and chocolate? I don't really like chocolate like that. So I don't think, but I think it's caffeine and chocolate. Whatever it is, we have all the things that we need to help us stay awake. That doesn't matter. You cannot control when you experience microsleep. And literally, it is 2 to 3 hours and you don't even recognize it. So if you are doing something that could be harmful, if you aren't paying attention, i.e., driving or cooking, or maybe you're smoking a cigarette or you're lighting a candle, and you experience microsleep, that could be disastrous, if not deadly. Jill has some heart smiley face emoji over on YouTube. She says, thanks, sis. Okay. So now we talked about the negative impacts of a lack of sleep. Let me move this over a little bit. My setup is different, so I'm not used to looking up high for my camera. So let's talk about the importance of sleep. So when we go to sleep, it is actually very restorative for our bodies. It renews our bodies in a lot of different ways. And we learned on previous days the importance of renewing our minds. And if our minds need renewed, then guess when that happens? Not only does it happen when we are awake and we are intentional about studying God's word and being intimate with God, but it also happens involuntarily while we're sleeping. What day did we talk about a renewed mind? A renewed mind. Oh, I can't find it very quickly because I was going to tell you exactly which date. Was that Ready? No, that wasn't Ready Minds. I'm not sure. So just go back and watch all the replays because on one of the days we talked specifically about the importance of having a renewed mind and allowing God to renew our mind. So whenever we're allowing God to renew our mind, that's something that we're doing consciously. That's something that we're doing while we're awake. We're saying, God, I want to invite you into my thoughts. I want to invite you into my life. Help me to stop thinking negatively. Help me to think of your goodness. Help me to think of your blessings and not the chaos. Help me not to think about the destruction that the enemy wants me to think about so that I don't go to sleep right now. So that's more of a conscious renewal of the mind. But a subconscious renewal of the mind happens when we are sleeping. And it is very important to the functioning of our bodies. So whenever we're asleep, our cells are renewed and restored. Our muscle tissues are renewed and restored. Our energy is renewed and restored and repaired. So not only renewed, but also repaired. Not only rejuvenated, but also repaired. And then there is a molecule called ATP. And I got to make sure I look at my notes real good on this one. And listen, I didn't major in biology and chemistry for a reason. Okay. So I believe I am pronouncing this first one adenosine triphosphate. I know I got that last part, but that's what ATP stands for. Adenosine triphosphate. And that is essentially, it's dubbed the energy molecule. And guess what? Our body needs it. Our body requires it because it keeps our nerves firing. Because our nerves are constantly going off when it's sending messages from our brain to all the rest of our bodies. The nerves are firing. And ATP is responsible for those nerves firing. ATP is responsible for helping our heart to keep beating. So if we aren't having ATP, the molecule ATP in our bodies, essentially we are dying and withering away, literally, because we need it. It is crucial to us being alive. And if we aren't going to sleep, we are impacting the ability for ATP to be generated in our bodies. And guess what? ATP is not only for humans, ATP is in every living organism. That's how important it is. Blue Baby says, thank you. You're welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, Donna. Okay. So now let's get out of the scientific talk. Let's get back to making it plain. Okay. For all the scientists and biologists in the room, that was probably, you love talking about that little section. But for all of us regular folks, let's get back to talking in plain Jane English without all the official names for everything. Okay, so we just talked about some negative impacts of a lack of sleep. Hey, Leslie. Hey, Geraldine. Hey, Abel. And why it's important that we get sleep, because essentially it renews our bodies on a cellular level. It restores and repairs our bodies at a cellular level. So sleep is important. Okay, Adonis? Now let's talk about some reasons, or some ways, I should say, that we can help improve our sleep, because obviously it's important to our thoughts, because we need to be able to think straight and think clearly if we're going to walk in our abundance. Big Steppa says, funny how I'm watching this on a lack of sleep for the past 5 days. I've got maybe 8 hours. Oh no, Big Steppa certified. Listen, look, I'm a firm believer that there are no coincidences. Okay. Maybe once, but in situations like this, it wasn't a coincidence that you popped up on this live, that this is your first time tuning in, and that it popped up on your feed, however it popped up on your feed, after you just said that you are having a lack of sleep for the past 5 days. You've maybe gotten 8 hours. If you just tuned in, definitely make sure you go back and watch the full replay on YouTube. Hey, Money on the Grind. Because God does not make happenstance. There are no coincidences in God's world. God is always orchestrating and setting things up for our good. Whether we follow the messages or not is a whole nother story. Always wants the best for us. And so if he sees that you aren't getting enough sleep, then he's going to put a message in front of you to help you understand why you need to get more sleep, why you need to prioritize your sleep. If he sees that you struggle with alcohol, he's going to put someone in position or a piece of material or a resource in front of you to help you battle that alcohol. Now, whether we take that resource or that support is another question. But he will always make a way out. He will always provide us with an escape plan. We learned that on a previous day. No matter what we are struggling with in our lives, God will always provide a solution. The question comes is in whether we take the solution or not, or whether we're even able to discern and be aware of the solution, because sometimes we're so caught up in our chaos that we don't even realize God answered our prayers, but we were focused on the wrong thing. Blue Baby says, that's why you shouldn't work at night. Well, unfortunately, some people have to work at night. Some people don't have a choice to work at night. But that doesn't mean they still can't get an adequate amount of sleep. They just have to be more intentional about finding the balance and finding a routine that works for them, for anybody that has to work in the nighttime. Money on the Grind says, hey, where you tuned in from, Money on the Grind? Hey, Fred. Hey, Blue Baby and Big Steppa, where you tuned in from? Okay, so the enemy wants to attack us whenever we are exhausted at the end of the day, because he knows that we're more vulnerable. We're more open to attack because we're already tired. We're already exhausted. We're trying to lay down and go to sleep. And so that's when he wants to sneak in and he wants to make us start thinking about issues that happened in the day or make us worry about an issue that ain't even happened yet. Big Stepper is tuning in from New York. Glad you could be here. Okay. He wants to take not only your sleep, but your peaceful sleep. Because he's like, okay, well, I can't get them to not sleep. So instead of trying to continue to get them to not sleep, I'll just do this. I'll make them have an unrestful sleep. So even though they're laying down and their eyes are closed and they think they want to sleep, they're tossing and turning. They're waking up every hour. How many people have ever done that? Where it just seemed like you were just tossing and turning all night long, or you was waking up every 30 minutes and it was like, as soon as you fall asleep, something else woke you up. And you just could not get a nice, solid pattern of sleep going. Hey, user 8713, good to see you back. Didi says, girl, last night. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you because you started it with girl. Well, Didi, well, it ain't going to be tonight, okay? It ain't going to be tonight. She says, LOL. I'm glad that y'all understand my humor and that I'm not laughing with you. Big Stepper says, that's me every 2 hours. Sheesh. But just know that we are glad that you tuned in here and you are officially in my prayers that you get some peaceful sleep. Didi says, okay. Katasha says, yep, me. No good rest. So many of us are struggling with this, not realizing the negative impacts that it has on our physical bodies, on our emotional state, on our mental state. And that's where the enemy wants us to be. He said, okay, I can't get you to not sleep. So instead, I'm going to take your peaceful sleep however I can. And maybe that's by putting certain thoughts in your head as you're getting ready to go to bed. Maybe that's by making you worry about things that you're going through as you're getting ready to go to bed. So let's talk about a few ways to help improve our sleep routines. First and foremost, no matter what we do, we're going to always take it to God and say, God, please help me get a restful night's sleep. Send me the support, send me the resources, whatever it is that I need that will help me to get a restful night's sleep. Even if it's just starting with one night a week and then growing that to 2 nights a week and then growing that to 3 nights a week and then growing that to where I regularly sleep peacefully. Sleepless nights are a thing of my past. We can decrease our alcohol and nicotine use. Now, I know if you drink alcohol, like you might be thinking, well, alcohol makes me sleepy. Yes, at the onset, when we're first drinking alcohol, we might get a little bit sleepy. But later on, as it is going through the systems in your body, hours later, it makes you more prone to restless sleeping. So even though you're sleeping, you're not getting restful sleep because the impacts, like you start off getting sleepy, but then once it's actually running through your blood system, it has a different adverse effect on your body, which keeps you tossing and turning. Hey, Antoinette. So decreasing your alcohol consumption. And I'm not saying you can't have a glass of wine or you can't have a margarita. Look, I like me a good margarita or a daiquiri every now and then, okay? But it's in moderation. And more importantly, it is not within a few hours of you going to sleep. So if you know that you got to go to bed at 10, don't have some alcohol at 9. And if you are using alcohol to help you get to sleep, then that's a whole nother issue in and of itself that we got to address and find the root of. And when I say we, I mean us collectively as a family being a support and encouragement. I do not mean that me and you specifically are going to sit down and have a counseling session. That is not my area. Okay. But I am going to direct you to Google to find services where you are located. All right. So our alcohol consumption, our nicotine consumption for any smokers out there. And listen, the warning is on the package of alcohol and nicotine. And again, devotional time for mindset is a safe space. Okay. So this is not a bashing zone. This is a hashtag judgment free zone. So we're not judging you if you smoke any type of nicotine. We're not judging you if you drink any type of alcohol. I just told y'all I like a margarita every now and then. But it's about doing those things in moderation and kicking the habit whenever we can. If you're a chain smoker, asking God to help you break that pattern and replace it with a healthy habit. Because essentially, sometimes we can use alcohol to numb the things that we don't want to face, or we can use nicotine to calm us down because we're too anxious. Instead, we want to get to the root of those things and figure out why we feel like we need to numb some pain, or we need to numb some trauma, or why we're getting so worked up and stressed that we feel like we have to use nicotine to calm ourselves down or to relax us. Hey, Michael. Because remember, we've talked about in previous days, you can't heal what you can seal. And we want to find healthy, positive methods to cope with things and to process and heal things so that we can live abundant, joyful lives. Okay? So try that. Try decreasing your alcohol and nicotine consumption. Something else you can do is decrease your caffeine consumption. Now, I know a lot of people like to have their cup of coffee when they wake up in the morning, and that's fine. Get that caffeine how you need it, but try to limit and decrease your caffeine after lunchtime. And if maybe you're somebody that works at night, so your days are flipped around, you just adjust the time period to your schedule. Okay. Most importantly, not having any type of caffeine products at least 6 hours before you plan to go to bed. And that seems like common sense, but you'd be surprised how many people actually do it. And then they complain, I can't go to sleep. Well, how much caffeine did you consume? And even if you did stop at lunchtime or 1 or 2 or 3 in the afternoon, having 1 cup of coffee and then stopping is different than having 10 cups of coffee and then stopping. Because that is a larger quantity that you are putting in your body. You are making more powerful effects in your body. So it's going to take longer to wear off. So being mindful of all those things. Try to have another tip. Try to have a set waking up time and bedtime. And maybe you have one for the week and one for the weekend, or maybe you want to do the same thing all 7 days. But the more that you can wake up around the same time and go to bed around the same time, that starts to train your body to get in that pattern. And let's say that maybe you want to go to bed at 10 p.m. So you start winding down at 9 p.m. Well, then naturally, the more that you do that and get in a routine, then your body will start to adjust, and your body will start to tell you at 9 p.m., hey guys, I'm getting sleepy. I think it's about time for bed. And then when we actually go to lay down at 10, we will fall right asleep. And the same thing with waking up. It just helps set and regulate that pattern. And again, you set that works for you and your routine, as long as it has an adequate amount. I would say a minimum of 6 hours. Okay. Let's see. Limit your electronics at least 3 hours prior to bedtime. So start cutting things off. Okay, Bree AB Star. Start cutting off the phone, start cutting off the computer, start cutting off the TV at least 3 hours prior. And it's okay if you gotta wean yourself off. Like maybe you turn off one of them 3 hours, and then at 2 hours you turn off something else, and at 1 hour you turn off everything. Because the electronic waves that are emitting from electronic devices and the blue light and all of those things, those are affecting the electronic signals that are going on in your body, your brain waves, because we all have energy running and flowing throughout us. And energy is flowing. There's always a transfer of energy between things and people. It's either taking or filling up, or it's an even exchange. Okay. But electronics, the wavelengths, the things that they emit, I don't want to get too much into it because this is not my area of expertise, but the things that they emit out into the environment, they decrease our ability to have a restful night's sleep. And so if you're one of those people that needs like noise to go to bed, so maybe you sleep with the TV on, I would suggest that you look on Amazon for a sleep machine. And they have all different kinds. They have some with white noise, brown noise, pink noise. Is there black noise? I know there's white, brown, and pink noise. They have some with fans. They have some with city sound. So, like if you need to hear trains and cars honking outside because you're a city girl, or maybe you're a country boy and you want to hear crickets and birds chirping and things like that, they have some. You just find the one that works for you. They have different types of fans, like you turn on a fan and you have it blowing. So they have all different versions. Like we have a sleep machine and it literally has all of those that you can switch through. It has the white noise, the brown noise, the pink noise. It has different types of fans, like an industrial fan, a regular fan. It has different nature sounds, like a waterfall, a rainstorm, a city noise, all different types of things. And then they have some that also have lights, but make sure you're finding one, if it does have lights, that are good for sleeping and not like daytime lights. Okay. So hopefully some of these tips are helpful. Gordon says routines aren't possible for truck drivers, but I sleep like a rock. Yes, I do not know the schedule of a truck driver. So yes, just do the best that you can with what you got and try to get at least a nice good chunk of sleep on a regular basis, because I feel like, I don't know because I've never been a truck driver, but I feel like that you guys have a crazy schedule, because I do know a few truck drivers. And so hopefully you can get into some type of routine, even if it's like a sporadic routine, but the chaos of does that make sense? You get what I'm saying? Like, how sometimes you go into somebody's office and it's like real messy and you're like, oh my gosh, you have stuff all over your desk. And they're like, yes, but it's organized chaos. I know exactly where this is and where this is, and this is how I like it. So that's what I mean. Like, have organized chaos in your sleep routine. Like, even if it's not like a day-to-day routine, but you get what I'm saying? Hopefully you get what I'm saying. Okay. Hey, Nick Michelle, thanks for tuning in. Hey, Nicole. Okay, so more tips. Where was I? Oh, don't eat heavy foods 3 to 4 hours before you're going to go to bed, because your body has to work to digest those foods. And if your body is up working in the middle of the night digesting the food that you just ate, you are not going to have as restful of a sleep. Neek says, hey, Lindsay, with all the green hearts. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, so try not to eat heavy 3 to 4 hours before you know that you're going to go to bed. And same with drinking. Don't drink a lot of things in the hours before you go to bed. And I just mean like regular drinks as well. Use lavender. Lavender is a great nighttime scent. Spray some on your pillow. I have a lavender shower spray. So I spray it on my shower wall when I'm taking a shower, and the steam from the shower helps put it into the air, and it's like an aromatherapy shower. And then they have pillow sprays that you can spray on your pillow, things like that. And mind you, I'm giving you guys all the non-medicinal ways, as in you don't have to go to a doctor and have a prescribed medicine. So sometimes that may be necessary, because some of us, not most of us, not all of us, but some of us have legit chemical imbalances that make it harder for us to sleep. And so if you are one of those people, then I would definitely suggest praying and asking God to send you a provider that isn't going to be prescribing medicine just to be prescribing medicine, or prescribing medicine for a commission check, but somebody who is preferably under the discernment of the Lord and will actually prescribe the things that you need at the levels that you need them for your best benefit, because they truly care about their patients. Hey, James. Okay. So there's that. So you'll notice none of the tips that I'm sharing include medicine, but I just gave the disclaimer for those that may need medicine. Everybody else that doesn't need medicine, there's usually things that we can do in our day-to-day routines, our day-to-day living that can help us solve some of these issues that we are going through. Okay? What I just say? Don't eat heavy 3 to 4 hours prior to going to bed. Relax before bed. So this is a great time to get in some self-care. And like within that last hour before bed, do something relaxing. Maybe that's reading a book. Maybe that's listening to some music. Maybe that's taking a bath or just a hot shower. You figure out what that means for you. Maybe it's drinking a cup of hot tea. Maybe that does help you relax. Not coffee. Okay. Maybe it's in I was about to say enjoying some fruit. Just don't overindulge on the fruit because again, we don't want to have anything too heavy on our stomachs that we have to end up digesting while we're sleeping. Okay? So find a way to relax before bed and include that in your bedtime routine. Exercise. Now, some research says don't exercise right before bed, but as for me, exercise makes me sleepy. It doesn't energize me. After I exercise, if I were to exercise, I just want to take a shower and take a nap. So you have to figure out what works for you. But most of the research says to exercise during the day, not right before you go to sleep. Okay, but that helps get your body flowing, gets your blood circulating throughout your body. And if your blood is circulating better throughout your body, then that means things are getting to where they need to be more effectively. Oxygen is getting to your brain more effectively when we're in motion. So even if you are just doing I don't know, some jumping jacks or something, doing 20 jumping jacks and walking around your building or walking around your block. It doesn't have to be go out there and run a 5K marathon. It doesn't have to be go to the gym and lift 500 weights. Do people really do that? Or and run for an hour? Like, no, that's where people get messed up and they end up doing nothing. It can be simple, like I just said, just taking one walk around your block. Or maybe it's going up and down your steps 10 times in a row. Or maybe it's doing some jumping jacks, just getting that blood circulating throughout your body, even if you're just starting with 5 minutes a day. Then progress to 10 minutes a day. And essentially, we want to try to get at least 30 minutes of physical activity in our day. And it doesn't have to be 30 minutes altogether because I get that we're busy, but maybe during the meeting, rather than sitting in your chair during the meeting, you are pacing back and forth in your office during the meeting and a little quick pace. Or maybe it's a phone call and you are walking around your block while you're having that phone call. If you have pets, that makes it easy because then you can just take the dog on a walk, which you're supposed to be doing that every day anyway. So maybe it's 10 minutes here and 5 minutes there and 15 minutes over there later on, just getting it in wherever we can get it in, okay? And make it in a priority. Set the mood. And I don't mean the Netflix and chill mood, okay? Although that was a bonus tip, okay, for all of y'all that have a boo thing. Have a little adult time with your boo thing. And if you guys are well connected and you are communicating and you are both pleased, then you should take a nice nap. Well, maybe not a nap, but go to bed nice and well, okay? Because all the feel-good chemicals and endorphins have released in our bodies, and we should be able to sleep more peacefully. Now, if you're in a toxic relationship, this ain't gonna work so much, okay? So we want to make sure that we are in healthy, positive relationships for that to be most effective. That was a bonus tip y'all just got there, okay? A little adult time with your boo thing. We're all adults here. Nancy is giving the heart emojis, okay? Listen, it's true. It's true, all right? So setting the mood. what I was saying before I got off track with the Netflix and chill comment. Okay. Setting the mood. And by that, making sure that you are in a cool, dark place, setting the environmental mood, the atmosphere. So, like I said, spraying some lavender, or maybe you have a lavender candle, but please do not sleep with the burning candle. So, maybe you have a lavender spray, or maybe you light the candle and then blow it off before you actually get into bed. Don't have it lit while you're laying down, because we don't want to fall asleep on accident. Like, oh, I'll get up and blow it out in 10 minutes, but you fell asleep at 5 minutes. Okay. So maybe setting the mood is like a sleep machine. Like I said, turning on your sleep machine, put in some aromatic scents, help to induce sleep behaviors. Usually, our bodies can go to sleep easier in a cool atmosphere. So if you're always cold like me, turning the heat down a little bit, but making sure you have blankets to keep you nice and snug. Okay. Keep you nice and warm, even though the atmosphere is cold, the room temperature is colder. And then you don't have to have it ice cold, because I can't sleep in the ice cold. So just cool, not cold, just a little cooler. That triggers something in our body where our body wants to start to shut down. Okay. And making sure that it's as dark as possible. So maybe you need light darkening shades. That's not what they're called. The shades that block out any light, room darkening shades. That is what they're called. Yeah. You can get them on Amazon. I got some in my front room. And they work. When they are closed, you would not know that it's daytime outside until you open it and you're like, a vampire. Hey, Art and Soul by Carol Robinson. And then quiet. Now, that's where, again, the sleep machine comes in, because some of you guys can't sleep in pure quietness. So that's where sleep machines can do a body good. Blackout curtains. There we go. I felt like I was not saying it wrong. Blackout curtains. Thank you, Nancy. Okay. So here's another good one. Journal your issues before bed. So this is the way we can directly attack the enemy, because this whole topic was about the enemy attacking our minds when it's time for us to go to sleep, and making us think negative thoughts, and making us think about the things that we did throughout the day that maybe we didn't handle the best way, or making us worry about things that we don't need to be worried about. Have a pen and paper right next to your bed, and right before you go to bed, write down all of the things that are on your mind, all of the negative things, all of the anxieties, all of the worries. And you want to know what happens? Subconsciously, it allows your brain to let it go. Even if you, didn't solve the problem right now, your brain feels like, "Ooh, I don't have to worry about that because I released it," even though you just released it onto the paper. Whatever you can do to help reclaim your peaceful night's sleep. So I want everybody to try that tonight, especially Dee Dee and Katasha and Big Steppa and anyone else that has not been getting any sleep recently. But everybody, but especially you guys. Hey, Danny. Journal out all of the negative thoughts, all of the issues, all of the anxieties, all of the worries right before you go to sleep. So you're going to write them down in your journal, and then you're going to say, "God, I am giving these issues to you so that I may have a peaceful night's sleep." And you're going to close it up, and you're going to say, "It is done." And you're going to get in the bed and do whatever you need to do. Okay? And maybe after you do that, this is next on my list anyway. Think of God's word and think of good things. Because have you ever noticed, like, people that just wake up angry? It's usually they went to bed angry. And because they went to bed angry, all of those thoughts are still floating around in their head, and they wake up angry. And, that's one reason why they say, like, don't go to bed angry at your spouse. Katasha says, "Okay, I will do that tonight." Ooh, and I know Katasha is an action taker. Yes, I love it. Okay. So after you write out all the issues, turn around and write out something you're grateful for. Write out some scriptures that talk about God's peace and his ability to give us peace and give us rest. Write out something good that happened in your day. Write out something you're looking forward to for in tomorrow. And listen, I know because there's always that one that says, well, nothing good happened in my day. Well, nothing good is going to happen tomorrow. I don't have anything good in my life. Well, as long as you keep thinking that, that's exactly what you're going to get. I'm sure you did have something good, but because you were so focused on the negative, you didn't recognize that opportunity for a positive moment. You didn't recognize that opportunity for joy. Okay? And go to bed with the expectations that you're going to have a great day tomorrow, no matter what. And then wake up and remind yourself that I'm going to have a great day today. And I can guess what? That you're going to have a great day that day. And if something comes along that starts to derail your great day because you already set the intentions to have a great day, you can catch it a lot faster and say, nope, I'm going to contain this moment. I'm going to process this moment and I'm going to release this moment because I refuse to allow this moment to turn into a mountain. I refuse to allow this bad 5 minutes to overflow into the rest of my day and make me have a bad day because that's a choice. No one ever has a bad day. You usually have a bad moment that you allow to affect the rest of your day. And then you end up with a bad day. Okay? So release the issues and the worries on the paper. And then after you do that, because remember, where your focus goes, your energy flows, and the things you focus on, you attract more of into your life. So you're releasing the issues. And then immediately after, you're thinking of the goodness. You're thinking of the gratitude. You're thinking of all the ways that God has blessed you. You're thinking of the great day you're going to have tomorrow and why it's going to be a great day if you can, if you already know in advance. So that the last thing on your mind when you go to sleep is positivity, is happiness, is joy, is God's grace, is God's love. Okay? Because I can guarantee that when you wake up the next day, even if you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, you are going to have a lot better day than if you hadn't. And if you find yourself waking up on the wrong side of the bed, then you can catch it a lot faster and say, oh, let me just lay back down, roll over, and get off on the other side. Okay, guys? So let's look at Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. It says, finally, my friends, keep your minds on whatever is true, pure, right, holy, friendly, and proper. Don't ever stop thinking about what is truly worthwhile and worthy of praise. Maybe part of your nighttime routine needs to be listening to gospel music, Christian music, songs of praise to help you release any negative thoughts. So maybe you write down all the anxieties and worries and issues of the day. And then you play an inspirational song. And then you write down the good things and go to bed. Maybe that's your nighttime routine. Or you can switch the last ones around. But start with the writing out the negative things. And then maybe write the good things and then end on the song. Which is one of the reasons for our favored list, guys. So make sure you go to mindsetmastersuite.com and input your answers for our favorite list. Favored list. A play on favorite. Favored because, God. So your favorite inspirational songs, your favorite personal development books or inspirational books, and your favorite scriptures. And you don't have to have all three. If you do, great, input those answers. And it's okay if you have more than one, great, input all of those answers. Input whatever answers you got, because at the end of our journey, I'm going to take everyone's answers that submitted over the past 100 days. Once we get there, I'm going to put it in a nice file, and then I'm going to send it out to everyone that opted to receive it as an additional tool that we can use. So then we can just turn on our devotional time for mindset playlist. Okay? Nancy says, for sure. Oh, battery died on that light. But you guys can still see me. It's all right. Okay? So Philippians 4:8 tells us to think on all the good things, not the bad things. That's what the enemy wants us to think. All right? So today we talked about the negative impacts of a lack of sleep, why it's important that we get sleep, and then finally some tips to help us improve our sleep patterns. Okay? And y'all, listen, I'm right there with y'all, because since doing this, my sleep has been all over the place, and I have definitely felt it, because even though we're usually done by 1:30, 2 a.m. Eastern time, my mind is still going. And like usually I don't immediately leave my office as soon as it's done, and I'm making sure it's ready for the next day. And then I'm taking a shower, and even though I'm exhausted after all of the lives, like, it still takes my body a little bit to wind down. So since January 1st, I've literally been going to bed at 4, 5, or 6 in the morning with a few all-nighters in there. And I recognize that. And the nights that I pulled the all-nighters, I definitely felt it and was barely keeping my eyes open. And it felt like I was going in and out, like in the middle of a conversation. It was like I was there and then I wasn't there. And like, wait, what did you just say? Wait, did I answer you? So this stuff is real. Okay. But I am mindful of that, and I do try to just sleep in anytime that I can sleep in, and take a nap anytime that I can take a nap. And so I want to encourage each and every one of you to also take a nap anytime that you can take a nap. But don't take a nap if it's going to decrease your ability to go to bed. As for me, I can usually go to sleep anytime I lay down. It's just a matter of me actually laying down in the first place. So if taking a nap is going to make you not be able to go to sleep in the nighttime, then maybe just make sure you only take a cat nap. And by cat nap, I mean 30 minutes or less. And that's actually proven research. Like, whenever you take an hour, 2 hour nap, that actually makes you more drowsier versus like 20 to 30 minutes. A true cat nap. Okay. That is what gives you the energy, like the boost. Google it. All right. So Nancy says, Lindsay, you have given all of us a gift. Your commitment to 100 days is huge. I know you must be exhausted. Thank you. Thank you, Nancy. Nancy, I appreciate your kind words. And listen, I am all for God's glory, okay? So that is a part of my mission, to be obedient to what God is saying. Hey, Akbar, what God tells me to do, because I know that this is bigger than us. And although I did not start this for any monetary gain, not financially, not in followers or anything like that. Actually, I even lost, since starting this, I noticed that I have lost some followers on Instagram, but it's okay. I don't care. Meanwhile, over on TikTok, I didn't gain a whole bunch of followers on TikTok, but I didn't do this for followers or for notoriety or anything like that. I literally did this to be obedient to God's word and do what he has called me to do, because we are all in this together. And so that means we have to show up when God says to show up, because we never know who is connected to us and what blessings connected to our obedience, not only for ourselves, but for everybody connected to us. So thank you for those kind words, Nancy. I truly appreciate it. And I'm honored that you guys even trust me enough, because All of y'all don't know me. I say maybe 5% of y'all have met me in real life. To everybody else, I am just a face and a voice on a screen. So I thank you for trusting me with guiding you on this journey. And please know that I do not take it lightly by any means. And I love each and every one of you, even if you think I'm crazy a little bit. Hey, Anne Marie, thanks for tuning in. So let's get into day 42 of our intentional insight and act. And so for day 42, you might have to go back and listen to the replay if you didn't take any notes. But what I want you to do is pick one of the, oops, that says on. Let me fix that real fast because I'm still a recovering perfectionist. Save. Okay, there we go. Now let me put it back on the screen. Pick one of the discussed tips that we just talked about. Hey, D-Lorv, and actually implement it into your sleep routine the next time you go to sleep. So if you're about to go to sleep right now, after this is over, do it now. If you're about to go to sleep because it's the daytime for you later on, then do it later. The next time you're about to go to sleep, implement any one of the tips that we just talked about. Okay? And if you already had a margarita 10 minutes ago, well, obviously you're going to have to start that one tomorrow. But just pick any one of the tips that we just discussed and implement it into your sleep routine. And then after you get in a good habit of doing that over the next week, then next week, add another tip into your sleep routine. Hey, Sage, remember, we don't have to do all the things at once. God didn't make the entire world in a snap, in a blink of an eye, in one day. He took his time and he did it over a period of time. And then he rested. So, what makes us think that we have to get it all done in an instant? Take your time. Progress is better than perfection. So, just pick one of the tips to implement tonight. Work on making that consistent over the next week. And then next week, add in another tip to the sleep routine and work on making that consistent. And then after that, add in another tip, however many tips you need to get that peaceful sleep that you desire and require. Okay, because God definitely wants you to have it. It's the enemy that wants to steal your peace and, more importantly, your peaceful sleep, because we are rejuvenated and restored and renewed and repaired in a lot of different ways when we are sleeping peacefully. Okay, so pick one of the discussed tips to implement into your sleep routine starting tonight and do that for the next 7 days, and then add another one and however many you need for your peaceful night's rest. Okay, so that is all that I have for you guys. We will be back same time, same place tomorrow for day 43 of our 100-day journey. So make sure you share these live streams out. Y'all can even share the replays, okay? It doesn't have to be just a live stream. So if there was one of them that's good and maybe you see a friend post something about something and it reminds you of a replay, share that replay with them. Say, hey, friend, I saw that you're struggling. I just want to share this with you because the lesson in it, the message in it, it might help you with the things that you're going through. Okay. Oh, let's see. Gordon says it's time for a cat nap. Yes, get to your cat nap, Gordon. Now, you definitely make sure that you get your sleep routine, even if it's organized chaos, however you can, because you are important to the functionality of this world, being a truck driver. But also, most importantly, we want to make sure that you are staying safe on the road for you and all the other drivers that are out on the road as well. Okay, so that is it for devotional time for mindset. Make sure that you go to mindsetmastersuite.com and you can download your free copy of the book Battlefield of the Mind Devotional by Joyce Meyer. You can download it for free at mindsetmastersuite.com. This is the book that this Devotional Time for Mindset is guided by. Okay. And you can submit prayer requests at mindsetmastersuite.com. You can contribute your answers to our favorite list at mindsetmastersuite.com. If you need a therapist to help you process and heal some of the traumas that maybe you are numbing with a substance or numbing with a bad habit of some sort, you can find some links to find therapists in your area at mindsetmastersuite.com. Katasha says, will do. Thanks so much. I appreciate you in this journey. Nancy says, see you tomorrow. Good night, y'all. And I'm going to follow Katasha and Nancy and say, good night, au revoir, adios. See you later, alligator. Bye, guys. Oops, pushed the wrong button. Oh, I guess that worked anyway. Maybe. Okay, good.